right here. Again, these brighter shades of blue, these darker shades of green right here. So this is where we are seeing this broad rotation. It is traveling just to the south of Maryville. If you live in the Townsend area, I'm going to encourage you now to take shelter into the lowest possible level of your house, away from windows, away from doors, as we are looking at this what is going to be a radar indicated tornado warning. Tornado warning just coming out from the National Weather Service moments ago. This is going to be in effect until 9:45 this morning, again for Blount and Loudon counties. We did have reports of some structural damage in two parts of Loudon County. That was coming from the sheriff's office. So we're going to be going out and we're going to get a glimpse of what this looks like. Let's get a little bit of a bigger view. And if you're in the path of this storm, we are going to encourage you folks to make sure that you are taking shelter into the lowest level of your house. So coming from the National Weather Service, they're saying at 9:10, a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located 11 miles southwest of Maryville, and it's moving to the east at 25 miles per hour. So if you are in the path of this rotation, let's kind of time this out for you. We do want to make sure that you are getting into the safe place of your house, the lowest level possible. Again, this is going to be for the possibility of an isolated tornado. Now keep in mind, folks, this is all radar indicated. We have had no confirmation of this tornado, but if you see your location in this blue box, we're going to encourage you to take shelter again now in the lowest level of your house, away from windows, away from doors. I know that it's right around 9 o'clock this morning, so a lot of people probably just getting ready for the day. And for most of us, we've just been seeing some heavy rain showers moving in, but because we've had some broad rotation within this system, this is why we are encouraging you to make sure that you take shelter. So the Cherokee Heights area, Highland Acres, Montvale, Belmead, Blockhouse, Chilhowie View, Melrose. Again, with our data, sometimes we get some older cities in here, but if you see your area or if you recognize a name that is on this list, this is where we are going to encourage you again to take shelter at this moment, as we do have this tornado warned storm that is going to be in effect until 9:45 this morning. Let's get a little bit of a view again as to what we're seeing with this velocity scan. So we're still seeing some of this broad rotation. This is going to be just to the east of the Greenback area and just to the south of Maryville. So thankfully it doesn't look like it's going to be necessarily impacting areas right around the airport, but you can see this as we kind of put it into motion. You can see some of this rotation. Even if we're not seeing quote unquote a confirmed tornado from this, we still have some very gusty winds that have the potential with this heavy rain of making it near the surface. Let's kind of get a little bit of an idea of some of these gusty winds that we're seeing within this line. So this is going to be factoring in wind gusts close to near 60 miles per hour. Could be seeing wind gusts up to around 50 to 60 miles per hour near the surface. Some of these strongest winds are going to be up into the higher levels of this cloud deck, but they have the potential of making their way closer to the surface. So traveling closer to the Townsend area, moving just to the south of Maryville. This is all a part of a line of storms that's continuing to make its way into the region. Tornado warning again in effect until 9:45 this morning, and this is going to be including Blount and Loudon counties. You notice not a whole lot of lightning within this system. It's very heavy rain. It is traveling off to the east at 25 miles per hour. And with this system, we had a level 1 risk for seeing some strong to severe thunderstorms in place. Most of these storms have been producing some heavy rain, some brief gusty winds, but this just happens to be a little tiny spin up that is in place, and it's continuing to track off to the east. This is all radar indicated. We have not had a confirmed tornado from this, but we did have reports from the Loudon County Sheriff's Office of seeing a tractor trailer perhaps with some damage in this area. So if you live in Maryville, if you live in Townsend, I would encourage now to take shelter into the lowest level of your house, as we do have this storm that is continuing to track its way off to the east. Again, moments ago, talked with the National Weather Service talking about some of these showers and thunderstorms. We are getting our information again coming from Nashville's office. We did not have a special weather statement on this system. We've been tracking this line of storms making its way into the area. This cell in particular just happens to be the strongest cell out of this line of storms. It's a little bit ahead of time of where our models were showing these storms to be pushing into the region, but you notice they are moving quickly off to the east. right around 25 miles per hour, moving from Loudon County, so basically out of Loudon County now for the most part, and now traveling into parts of Blount County. If you are watching in parts of Blount County, I'm going to encourage you to take shelter as we are watching this tornado warned storm. It's just to the south of Maryville. It's moving into Sevier County, and it has the potential of bringing in, again, some broad rotation. Let's highlight this velocity scan one more time. Yeah, and you can still see some of those brightening of those colors a little bit. So right to the south of Maryville and just to the east of Greenback. It's going to be right near to the southeast of the Benfield area, heading towards Townsend. Whether or not we are seeing some tightening of this rotation, which again, we're seeing some very bright colors, which does indicate some of those strong wind gusts. Whether or not this is coming down as an isolated tornado, we still have the potential of seeing wind gusts up to around 50 to 60 miles per hour near the surface. When you have those strong gusty winds aloft and you get this heavy rain pulling it down to the surface, this could still lead to some power outages, and it could still lead to some down trees. And we're going to continue to monitor this, especially as it continues to track its way off to the east. Highlighting this is kind of a big picture. The Storm Prediction Center did have our viewing area under a level 1 risk. One of the biggest concerns going to be those gusty winds. So this, even if it is not a confirmed tornado, which I have a feeling that the National Weather Service will be going out and surveying this damage, whether or not it is a confirmed tornado, we're still going to be tracking out to see what these wind gusts likely were within this system. So again, we're watching this line of strong to severe thunderstorms. As we put this future cast into motion, let's kind of break it down for you folks. We're going to watch this line push its way off to the east, and this is a little bit delayed. I wouldn't be surprised if we did see a majority of these storms make their way out of the area by lunchtime. And then the rest of the day today, some wraparound showers and thunderstorms that will be possible. We had one other isolated tornado warning. This was out of our viewing area up into Kentucky earlier today. That was more so into middle parts of Kentucky, a little bit closer to the low. This just happens to be a little bit more of an anomaly. And again, the reason why this was issued was because we did have reports of seeing some structural damage in the Loudon County area. If you do have any reports of damage in this region, it would be extremely helpful to have pictures, to have information as to what we're seeing in this. I'm actually checking to see if we have any power outages right now. It doesn't look like we're seeing a whole lot of power outages in parts of Loudon County at this moment, but that is certainly something that we will continue to watch. And it does look like the National Weather Service has now shifted this tornado warning, and they have issued it into parts of the central part of Blount County. The storm is continuing to track off to the east, and it's moving right around 25 miles per hour. So let's give you another little glimpse as to what we're seeing with this rotation. So again, now this is no longer in Loudon County, where we originally had reports of seeing some damage. This is now a tornado warning that is going to be for Blount County, and this is going to be a system that is going to be tracking off to the east. So again, tornado warning until 9:45. This is going to be for Blount County. Let's look at some of the velocity with this. Still seeing some very strong wind gusts. Again, the rotation within this is still kind of broad, but there is certainly the potential that we could be seeing some tightening with this. A lot of these storms, they do kind of this breathing movement. So they expand and then they compress, and then they expand and then they compress. And the bigger concern, honestly, because we just have so much heavy rain within this system, is seeing some of those gustier winds near the surface. So we have the chance of seeing 60+ mile per hour wind gusts moving down into the surface area, especially where we have all of this rain in place. So some very gusty winds. You notice right here, let me point it out for you where we are seeing some of this rotation. It's right here, right to the south of Maryville, and it's traveling toward the Townsend area. I have not seen reports, again, of power outages in this area, but if you are watching right now and you are seeing some damage in your area, we would safely appreciate for you to send in some of these pictures. This rotation is going to be right to the north of, let's say, Mountain View School, if you recognize that name. The Foothills Parkway, about to see some of this potential rotation sliding into your region. Moving just to the south of Forest Hill Elementary School is where we're seeing some of this rotation kind of sliding into the region. Let's kind of loop this so you can see it. Right there. So it's moving just to the north of 6 Mile Road, Mountain View School. If that sounds familiar, if you live near this area, the Foothills Parkway, just to the southeast of Maryville, heading into Townsend, I would take shelter again into the lowest level of your house, away from windows, away from doors, as we are tracking this tornado warned storm. So we are watching a tornado warning, not a whole lot of lightning within this system. It is some very heavy rain that's also moving into the region along with this tornado warning. And this is going to be, again, radar indicated. So we do not have confirmation of seeing any actual sight of this tornado. Looking at some of the correlation coefficient, trying to see if I could see if we had any debris coming with this, but right now it looks like we're just continuing to see some heavy rain really overtake this and not pick up anything exactly indicating that we're seeing this observed tornado. Another highlight of this velocity scan, again, yeah, we're still continuing to watch some of this, but it does look like we're seeing still kind of some broad rotation. This is just to the south of Maryville, and it is traveling its way towards Townsend. You also notice some very gusty winds to the northwest of Townsend where we have those brighter shades of blue. That's certainly going to be a possibility as this system really does start to expand. Just within that last scan from the radar, we're not seeing necessarily as much tightening as what we originally had. Still looking at this tornado warning in effect until 9:45. We'll see if the National Weather Service does keep this going until 9:45. And after we do end this, we're going to be checking to see if we do have any damage. But this storm, this rotation, moving to the east around 25 miles per hour. If you live, let's kind of get a little bit of a loop as to what we're seeing with the time frame. If you see where you live on here, close to this area, that does include Townsend, that includes Melrose. If you live near Townsend Elementary School, Hornet, I would take shelter in the safe place, the lowest level of your house. Even if we are not seeing a tornado within this system, we still have the possibility of some very gusty winds. Wind gusts up to 50 to 60 miles per hour. This still has the chance of bringing in downed trees, power outages, and some major impacts across this region. This originated again when we had an email coming out from the Loudon County Sheriff's Office talking about some damage they did here of some damage right around the Philadelphia area, originally near Holt Road. And they did have reports of seeing perhaps some structural damage. Again, this is where this storm originated at, and it's continuing to track its way off to the east. This tornado warned storm will be in effect until 9:45 this morning. This is radar indicated, but if you see your area shaded in this blue box, we are going to encourage you now to take shelter into the lowest level of your house. So let's see, we have the National Weather Service. They're going to be continuing this tornado warning until 9:45 for central Blount County. So this is a tornado warm storm that has the possibility for bringing in some rotation. This is going to be moving off to the east right around 25 to 30 miles per hour. So let's see, we're hearing some people, this is going to be from the Maryville area, saying that the couplet, now the couplet is going to be, remember I'm talking about those brighter shades of blue, those darker shades of green, that's the couplet where it shows the rotation. We're hearing again from a spotter in the Maryville area where he said that the couplet had just passed over. The wind gusts were not very impressive and there was no damage, but we do have some people that are continuing to, again, monitor this situation. Just to be on the safe side, folks, again, I'm going to encourage you, if you are under this tornado warning, a warning again means that we have the possibility of a storm producing a tornado. And yeah, the rotation has definitely really backed off. I'm really not as impressed with this as I was just moments ago. Let's put the velocity into motion and you'll get a glimpse as to what I'm talking about. So watch, this is a loop over the last 30 minutes. So you notice right around the Greenback area, let me see if I can take this back for you and kind of go back in time. So check this out. This is a great explanation of this. So look, this is right near the Greenback area, just to the east of Philadelphia. Remember, Loudon County sharing their information with us, saying they were seeing some structural damage right near Philadelphia. Bam, here we are with this velocity scan. It just popped up relatively quickly. And you can see where we have those brighter shades of blue and those darker shades of green. This could totally verify for bringing in some structural damage, not necessarily quote unquote saying that it was a confirmed tornado, but you can see that little couplet of rotation. And I did talk to the National Weather Service and they said they were watching this couplet, but just not quite there. Then it moves into the Greenback area. I'm curious if you live in the Greenback area, if you have had any damage in your area, feel free to join the conversation on social media. You can email our newsroom, call in. So just to the north of Greenback, you can see that we had some of that rotation as well. Still seeing those brighter shades of blue, those darker shades of green, indicating that we have that couplet of rotation. Let's kind of take this a little bit further. So still seeing some rotation. This was about 25 minutes ago, just near the Greenback area. And then we put this into motion, kind of going through. You notice you still see those brighter shades of blue, brighter shades of green, indicating that there is still some of those gusty winds, some broad rotation. This was way back at 9:13. So again, we're going back in time, folks, and I want to reaffirm with you that this rotation is starting to weaken. So now if you are still under this tornado warning, I'm still going to say please take shelter, but watch as we put this into motion, and I'm slowly doing this. You see how that rotation starts to broaden out as we get closer to almost 4 or 5 minutes ago. We don't quite see those darker shades of green and those lighter shades of blue, and so this is where we are at this very moment. And you notice we're not seeing again as much of a concern for this broad rotation, or even this tightening of this rotation. Here's a look at the big picture point of view. Again, if you're just joining us, folks, the time is 9:33. We are tracking a tornado warning that is in effect for Blount County, and this is going to be in effect until 9:45. These storms are continuing to slide off to their east. This is the only warning that we have in place at this moment, and this is going to be again radar indicated when it comes to a tornado warning storm. As I just explained moments ago, we still have this tornado warning, and they will likely keep this until 9:45. I don't quite think that they will extend it. Actually, the National Weather Service has just canceled the tornado warning, so that will be canceled. We no longer have the rotation, as we've been talking about. We're no longer seeing some of those tightening of the wind. So again, the tornado warning as of 9:33 is going to be canceled. No longer have it in place, folks, so this will be disappearing. All right, that is a quick look as to what we're seeing this morning, folks. If you do have any storm damage, again, please share that with us. Join the conversation over on social media. And again, the tornado warning that we did have for Blount County no longer in effect. That is the reason why we came back on air. But if you have any damage, please safely share that with us. Power outages, things of that nature. And just be cautious as you head throughout the rest of the day. Some very heavy rain and the potential for some gusty winds still going to be moving into your area. We will have much more coming up throughout the rest of the morning. Thanks for joining us.
Hands-on experience with echo equipment and learn advanced imaging techniques. Visit south.edu today to learn more. South College, where dreams find direction.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Why should you hire America's largest injury law firm for your case? There's a lot of reasons. When you use Uber or Lyft, you're taking a gamble. You have no idea who that driver is. Were they paying attention to their phone or GPS and not the road? Injured in an Uber or Lyft accident, you could have a big case. We became the largest injury law firm in the world for a reason. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.